Right, with this session I am going to explain about the concept called VLAN, right? So for that I am using this packet tracer diagram for the simulation purposes. This is about the VLAN. The first thing, VLAN is a virtual LAN. So simple definition for the VLAN, we can say that is layer 2 partition. Right, we can say that is layer 2 partition. Layer 2 mean that is data link layer partition. So simply that is switch partitioning. The idea is we are going to use single layer 2 switch as many switches, many virtual switches. So that's a concept. So I will demonstrate this with using the help of packet tracer. So right, in this diagram basically I have two different network that is connected with two different switches, right? So switch 1 and switch 2. So you know these two areas we call broadcast domain. We can say this is one broadcast domain, this is another broadcast domain, right? The meaning of the broadcast domain, if I generate broadcast, the area that received. So these are two different network with the layer 3, 10.0 and the 20.0. Let's say within the IT department only 10 users, within the HR department only 5 users, but in here we are used two different switches to configure this network. So first I will show what is the broadcast domain. So in here I'm moving to the simulation mode, and with this PC I'm going to run the command, let's say ping 192.168.10.255. you know that is the broadcast IP. When I create the broadcast, it received to all the switch port within the same device, right? So the basic idea is single switch we consider as single broadcast domain, and if anyone create the broadcast that received by all the active ports, active devices, and all the ports by default assigned to VLAN 1, that's a default switch configuration. We can check that using the command show VLAN brief, and you can see all the ports related to the VLAN 1. So that is one broadcast domain, right? This is single switch that considered as the one broadcast domain. So no need to simulate, this is again one broadcast domain. Then in here idea is, let's say in here I have only limited users, let's say 10 users, in here I have only 5 users. Why I am using these two switches? So I can use single switch for this network. So I am deleting switch 1 and switch 2, both are removed from the network, and let's say I am going to add switch here, and I am going to connect. In here I am using the straight through cable, first PC with the port number 1, then with the port number 2, port number 3, like that I connect IT department PCs to the switch. At the same time I am going to connect HR department PCs. I am assigning HR department PCs from the port number 11. So port number 11, 12 and 13 I am going to use for the HR department. Now set of port connected with the IT department device, set of port connected with the HR department. So now the thing is we are using single switch, right? So you know as I mentioned, all the ports in here related to the VLAN 1. So that's the issue. So that means if I run the command show VLAN brief, then you can see all the 24 port related to the VLAN 1. Now in here I have connected two different network to the same switch. Layer 3 wise, that is two different network, 10.0 and the 20.0, but layer 2 wise, this is single switch, that means single broadcast domain. We can simulate it, right? Simply I am doing the same communication again with the simulation mode, then you can see what happened. See, this PC generate the broadcast message that received by the all the IT department and the HR department users, right? So the thing is, so this is still with the same VLAN. So what I am going to do now, I am going to create one virtual switch for the IT department, one virtual switch for the HR department using the same physical switch. The correct idea is I am going to create one LAN, one broadcast domain within the same physical switch for the IT department, and I am going to create another broadcast domain or the virtual LAN for the IT department, one for IT, one for HR. So that's a concept. I am going to divide this switch into two partitions, right? You know, in your PC we have one physical disk, hard disk, but we can create partitioning, but everything within the same physical disk. Those are represented as the different hard disk, but actually this is only one disk, right? So now what I am going to do, I am going to create layer 2 partitioning, that is we call virtual LAN. The first step, with the VLAN I can define the number, then I can define the name, let's say that is IT, exit, I am creating another one, VLAN 20, name, let's say that is HR. So I have created two VLANs, so I can check those things with the show VLAN brief. Then you can see the output, yes, those two VLANs are available, but all the ports still related to the same VLAN. So that means still we have one broadcast domain here. So I need to create two, right? So now I am going to the port assignment, interface range fast Ethernet 0/1 to 10. I'm going to create one broadcast domain or one virtual LAN using port number 1 to 10 for the IT department. Switch port mode access, switch port access VLAN 10. At the same time, port that start from the 11 and till the 20, I am going to assign for the another broadcast domain, another VLAN, that is my VLAN number 20. Now if you run the command show VLAN brief, now you can see port number 1 to 10 related to the VLAN 10, port number 1 to 20 related to the, port number 11 to 20 related to the VLAN 20. Now this single switch act as three different broadcast domain or three different switches. Set of ports still within the VLAN 1, that is one broadcast domain. Set of port within the switch related to the VLAN 10. Set of port within the switch related to the VLAN 20. Let's see now what happened to the broadcast traffic. Earlier, there is single broadcast domain, then all the active port receive the broadcast. Now again I am going to simulate the same thing, right? Same thing. So now I am going to simulate broadcast with this PC, that PC related to the VLAN 10 IT department. Let's see what happened. See, this time that broadcast reside within the IT department. That means this is physical switch, but it's divided into virtual LAN or the layer 2 partitioning. The simple idea, what is VLAN? We are partitioning the switch, that technology called VLAN. The simple definition, VLAN is layer 2 partition. Thank you very much.